they
Hello and
reduced
welcome.
what
We're
you're
just
saying
doing a
from a
Tony
year of bad
Michaels
economy.
today
They reduced
for
it
a
from
little
about
while,
3
and
to
then we
5
may
years
go to
to
the
that
game
year,
and we'll
18
figure out
months
some other
with
stuff.
that act.
But one of the
Especially
things they're
once we
talking
get it
about right now is they're
instituted.
talking about China. And one of the things I just wanted to say really quickly is the reason that China is a net importer now is because they've screwed up their farmable land to the point of no return. We know this. We know this. So what China needs to do is become the net exporter of something. And if they were smart, they would try and become a net exporter of energy. But again, the supremacy of idiocy continues, and they're going along the petroleum and rip it out of the ground instead of take your solar, make it 200,000 times better with your scientists that you're sending through these schools and become a net energy producer like Australia is trying to do right now with a 200 gigawatt solar plant. That'll be about the size of San Francisco.
And we get our infrastructure up, and this spending gets out
Just
in the next
FYI.
10 years. And
not only that, but I mean, just the because I've definitely talked about this before, which is like you've got different areas of China, like Shenzhen, which is where a lot of these components are manufactured. I've worked with companies where we've had factories or we've worked. I mean, it's literally
what didn't made in Xinjiang really? I mean, Jesus
Xinjiang,
Christ.
yeah.
It's
true.
It is
very
really
true.
like
very, 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 very,
it's
very
kind
true.
of like if you were to imagine like a cookie cutter factory kind of city,
just
where
like your house.
you go in, you're like, oh, they produce this, but they also produce this other thing that's very similar, if not the same thing, for another brand, right? It's where a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to white label this product. And a lot of those chips, those, fabricating those motherboards or those other electronic components, the idea is that for years, right, they invested. They're like, look, we're going to be this powerhouse, and everyone is going to come to here. I mean, there's also in Taiwan as well and other areas, but like China being the main powerhouse of it all, and everyone has relied on them to do it, especially the U.S. Like, it costs more to fabricate chips in the U.S. because we just aren't specialized in that right now. And the idea that we have this CHIPS Act where we say, hey, look, we're going to create jobs. We're also going to create something that is not going to go out of style or business, right? It's not like, oh, coal miner job. It's like, no, this shit
we
want to produce the base one,
right? The idea that we're making this is future-proofed, not only for the next generation, but the following, and so the idea that we have this in our own country,
it the right way.
Like if you really want to make it America, it's like made in America. This is the ultimate made in America thing, because it's something that will go on for years after its implementation, because there is no removal of electronics, right? It's not like they're just going to go away.
You know what? I actually remember seeing banners all over at a few of these rallies that said America First on it. I wonder if they think
would think that they would support it, But,
hey, Texas Paul, people in the chat are wondering what the context of these leaks are. They keep asking what the context, because I kind of brought the leaks up without giving much context around them. And these are very highly sensitive documents, and it appears that they've been printed, pulled out of facilities, and then photographs have been taken, and the photographs are what are leaking on the internet. Can you give us a little more context?
I'm sorry. Let's just. I'm sorry. Might the reason, and I hate to say this, because there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to want to hear this. Yeah, if it's not us, and I don't really think it was us, I kind of think it might have been Donnie, knowing that the DOJ is about to take him down. And if it's what I think it is, oh my God, this man is an idiot. We may end up having one of the biggest downfalls ever of the GOP if it's what I think it is.
And what it means and why it's so important that these are photographs.
Yeah.
It's really not
kind
much
of important.
All they are is it more clearly illustrates the kind of support that we've given Ukraine over the since the invasion began. It talks a little bit more that maybe we've been a little bit more involved on the ground than what we wanted to admit, that we've done a considerable amount of training with Ukrainian forces.
We've done some training. We've done some things
material,
that we have,
offensive weaponry that we were providing
nothing,
Ukraine.
but nothing really
before
like,
we came out and said that we were going to offer them offensive weaponry. It's a big nothing burger, is what it really is. But what it really does is it undercuts Russia's supremacy in Ukraine.
Right. It really shows how weak they are. I mean, more than
exactly.
anything.
Exactly. There really is not much to this. I mean, I'd like to throw a big drama. Oh, this terrible thing was in there that really hurts us. But it's just not there, Tony. It's just not.
The worst narrative that could come out of this is that Ukraine is using up a certain, and it's a Russian-style missile that they still have, and they're using up their stockpiles of it. But the good news is it shows that we're sending more. It's coming, baby. Like, these are going to be restocked. The question is, will it be restocked in time where Vladimir Putin can't take advantage of this and fucking murder more civilians with his war crimes? I mean, that's really that's what's at stake here, is how quickly can we get Ukraine armed against the fucking the invasion of their sovereign nation by Putin and him killing their civilians with his weaponry.
There we go.
My instincts are telling me that this was kind of,
I know.
I'm
doing things to see that this is going to run the right way, and it's a lot just to make sure when you're doing it by yourself,
an entire cast
going to
run over to the Republicans to start screaming like gut-shot hogs about all the shit that we've been doing and putting themselves on the wrong side of history. To their credit, the Republicans have been really fucking quiet about this. They have not said much at all. Yeah.
I mean, the dumb ones, the usual dumb ones, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she loves Putin, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh God, understatement.
It. I mean, all of them do, right? You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. You've got Rand Paul, like all of the,
oh God, yeah.
Ron Johnson,
like all, let me go vacation July 4th over in Russia.
Eat hot dogs and hamburgers with people.
All of these people that want to say how, America is this tyrannical government or this fascist regime or whatever. It's complete projection, but also one that, is protecting their own best interests, which is, if I support Putin, then I will be I will be protected or whatever. And I want to say there is something, it actually just reminds me of this. Whenever someone is simping for a dictator or simping for a billionaire, just know you're going to be the first one to go right under the bus. Okay, right under the fucking bus.
You mean Matt Taibbi? No,
Matt Taibbi is the perfect example where he goes on.
I didn't mean to segue.
Oh,
that's exactly
this is good. This is good. For those of you who have not,
he goes on
please listen to this. This is such good stuff. Because I love the way that he is such an idiot.
Criticize Elon Musk,
because Elon gave him the money.
Delete the whole thread or whatever.
So I haven't looked, but according to what happened is Matt Taibbi was like, "What the fuck happened to the Twitter files thread? It's gone now. Who deleted this? What happened?"
It's because it's on his profile, right? It's on his timeline.
So and also Elon, I think Elon being like, "Oh, we should really look into this." When you really understand that a lot.
Wait. Elon said we should look into why it was deleted.
No. At the time when he's like,
we should put out the files.
Everyone should pay attention.
These are stupid. Remember,
looks into this.
Remember one thing before they even get into this. Elon, Trump, all these are second-gen men who have never worked a fucking day in their goddamn lives. They've made their money off of their parents. So they grew up rich thinking that they are privileged to have all of this shit. Elon Musk is just one of them. He did not work a day in his life. Every single thing he has done is stolen. Hello. Every single thing he has done is stolen. He has not had a single idea that is his own to date. Period. Prove me wrong. You will not be able to for one reason. there's a buttload of people showing every day what a bullshit artist he is and what bullshit artists most of these GOPers are. And the reason he bought Twitter was because it was becoming a hindrance to the Middle East folks who wanted it gone. Well, let's see if he can get rid of it. I don't think he can, because it's not Twitter he's going to be getting rid of. It's the idea of communication this way. They are not going to be able to get rid of it anymore. See, he actually was making money off of it in a way that kind of was screwy, because he was helping with the war that he doesn't like anymore, because the people who are giving him money don't like that war anymore.
When really what you realize is that Matt Taibbi is, he replaces CISA for CIS, right? The CISA intentionally does that for CIS, which is a nonprofit organization, and then claiming it was a
profitable
government
for-profit
agency, right? You say, it was the government that was meddling.
Right.
When really, no, it was an internet nonprofit organization. Right?
Texas, Paul, the most disappointing about the whole thing is Mehdi Hassan owns Matt Taibbi on live on air and embassy. Why couldn't the fucking committee come up with that and just fucking own him on the record in Congress? Why are Democrats so fucking?
They did, Tony. They did. If you go back and watch the hearings,
but not the way that they TikToked it. The way that they made him admit, he was fucking wrong. And they just didn't do it the way he did it. And that's the way they should be doing it. Like, that is a pure example of how the roadmap of how you hold these fucking idiots, especially these Putin's puppets like fucking Elon Musk and Matt Taibbi, accountable.
But they did.
You cannot understress
the problem is
talent.
It did get that happened in Congress. They ripped him apart. But you literally could not.
I need to get that book and read it. He talks about how when you're like a host on air, how to fucking pen these people in the corners.
Oh yeah, I mean there are a handful of people that do this so well, right? You don't see it coming, even though you know it's going to come.
Why would anyone fuck with him? Why would anyone fuck with him?
And Jon Stewart's another. Which, if you saw the clip from C-SPAN of him talking with the Secretary of Defense, I think it was. He was like, no, tell me more about how audits work, and then fucking nailed her into a corner.
She walked right into it, man.
He's like, no, educate me. I don't know anything about that. Right. Even though he does know about it. Right. And he's like, nah, I looked through this shit, and I know what it is. So I'm going to let you talk your way into this pile of shit, right? But Matt Taibbi and Elon Musk is just another example. Going on that show, getting owned, and then like just this eerie sense of timing, and it was all a coincidence, obviously, is that a day later he's like, wait, where are the Twitter files? Wait, the Substack, I can't link my Substack. Oh, I can't do this.
Substack's no longer linkable because he knows that Substack's got a piece on it that looks like Twitter.
Those are two DM screenshots from Elon.
Who released that? Was it Matt Taibbi?
No, Elon Musk did.
Oh, fucking shit.
Elon Musk did me. So basically what happened.
Elon, the CEO of Twitter's taking screenshots of DMs that he's in, and he's posting them on Twitter.
So what? See, like I said.
What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me?
Pathetic piece of shit.
You're
the CEO.
Of events here is there's the other reporter, Michael. Fuck, I forget his name.
How the hell
Michael
do you do this as the CEO?
Yeah. So
I don't
what
get
happened
this.
Was there was this little spat that happened in private, right? Matt Taibbi won't criticize Elon Musk in public. He was like, I'm done with Twitter.
Can't do that.
I'm leaving. I'm going to Substack.
But that's because he was.
So then what happens is there's another one of these people who are on the Twitter files, Michael something MD.
Because basically what Taibbi got was he got promotional. So what he got was in the programming, in the God, I hate the fact that you guys keep calling it this. In the algorithm, which is the program for the goddamn shit that's up there, he got first posting. I wish everybody in America could go for 5 minutes, go run just what's called a WordPress site. So you understand. I mean, it's not that difficult, but you understand that control of what's sitting where on that site comes from you, the programmer. So he was in control of what could be seen. What Matt got was first see, the most eyeballs.
journalists,
full
who reported on the Twitter
400,000
files.
because
And
he was
talking about
shoved
how,
down their
he
throats
shared
no
a link
matter
and said,
what
"Oh, guess
by
we wouldn't know
Elon.
this stuff if it were not for."
Because did you
Elon
know this
Musk
for a while? If you
releasing
were
the
on Twitter,
files,
you were
giving us
Elon's friend,
unfettered
whether you
access,
wanted to
right?
be or not.
So underneath that, there's this whole thing about Substack, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on with Substack?" And Elon Musk then says, "Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take screenshots, these 2 screenshots, and I'm going to reply to this thread with those screenshots." And luckily, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm grabbing those things." And sure enough, Elon Musk deletes the response, and they're gone now. So this is me just pulling up the receipts for everyone to see.
Hold that up for 1 second right there. What is important about that right there? You are employed at
Excuse me.
Substack. The beef with Substack, while Mehdi Hassan was destroying Matt Taibbi, there was something
Substack?
else
What?
that was going
I was
on.
never a Substack
was
employee.
downloading massive amounts of data from Twitter. And the Twitter engineers were like, "You've got to cut these fuckers off." I mean, they went to Elon Musk and said, "This is not your friend here. They are downloading all your data. They're making you useless," is what they're doing.
Right, because they want to
so
make a
they
whole
did.
new
They
Twitter.
cut
They
off
know
Substack. I
better.
didn't mean to interrupt you, Gabe, but that is
Well,
the real
Here's the
origins of all
problem.
this.
They actually know. Again, there is a reason that Elon Musk, the kid who's never had a thing of originality in his fucking life, oh my God, New York Times. California's economy is on the edge. I literally just finished 5 different goddamn interviews for 5 different jobs. Turned down 3 of them because they weren't where I wanted them to be, unfortunately. And the 2 I wanted actually had plenty of people. Yes, plenty of people. But he still was like, "I will keep you in mind because if we do this one other thing that we're talking about doing, I'm probably going to call you back because we do need somebody who can do this and this and this." So I'm trying to figure out, New York Times, how bad this is.
Let's go back even further because Substack, wasn't it like a kind of a cousin company of Twitter? Like one of the
FYI.
original.
I'm talking about
Maybe I'm
that.
wrong on this. Wasn't it one of the original developers at Twitter left Twitter to develop Substack, and they integrated a lot of Substack into Twitter? Or am I wrong? Or is that something different? Because I know there's a newsletter.
I don't know that.
They're not the same company, but they
No,
were
by any
developed
means.
Right.
to kind of
But
coordinate
No.
with each other in the API.
Well,
because the issue here is Substack being a competitor, right? Substack being
Substack is a competitor, and it actually got a lot of employees from Twitter
you can
because
they're
Elon
not
laid them
just
off.
written content anymore. You can have podcast on there
Right,
and all
right. You
kinds
can
of.
have all
I'm
sorts of
actually
stuff.
thinking we should open one up to put the audio version on Substack.
Right.
So then there's this whole. And what really sparked
Oh,
it was
yeah,
on
that's an
Wednesday,
idea. Substack. I didn't
Substack
even think about
announced
that.
that they were in a blog post that they were going to roll out this thing called Notes, right? Which is a similar style to Twitter. So, there is this fear.
Well, wait. So you mean it's like a short-term timeline type thing, like an archive?
Basically, it's short form content. Where you can just go back and forth, and
it's a public timeline, is what you're saying. Like a
I don't know how. Well, I don't know how it works if because obviously with some Substacks they're like, hey, you can read it for free, or if you want to read it, then you have to subscribe, right? Which is
because that's what Matt Taibbi is saying in these right here,
because he saying I get paid.
Right, he's saying my subscribers employ me because his subscribers, who the people who read his gated content, are paying to see that gated content, and that's how he's making money on that content, right? Like
exactly.
we have our Patreons. It's kind of the same thing. Matt Taibbi has his Substack, and he's just charging people to read it.
Exactly.
Like we have a
exactly.
Patreon.
All it
we
is.
charge people to get access to the
Substack's just another way of doing the
Substack
exact
is
same
basically
thing.
like a digital newspaper where you're saying, hey, if you want to
You're
get
on
access to New York
Patreon
Times or
blah,
Washington
blah, blah,
Post
blah,
or whatever it might be,
Right.
you pay me $1 a month or $8 a month or whatever it might
you
be.
can see the extra
Texas
stuff
Paul will be
that
right
we're gonna
back. You
put
had to
up.
step out for a sec. But you look at this, and that's what's going on here, right? So what people need to understand is
The edited shows.
Substack looks at the market, right? They look at what's going on in the industry of social media, but specifically on something that's like
and
Twitter,
then we can
right?
put out
and they look,
those
oh, we got a
snippets,
lot of people coming to Substack from Twitter, right? They're saying, oh, people are linking out from Twitter,
which is
to
no
longer form content on Substack.
Right.
Twitter's like, hey, we're
we don't
gonna
want
increase the character count on Twitter, so you can add your whatever, files, documents, whatever, you can do them here, right? That's where the discussion should happen. Elon Musk, pussy ass bitch, super insecure, fragile ego, decides,
broke.
No, hold on. No, we're gonna make it longer on Twitter. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna identify any link that is on Twitter from Substack.
Punk ass, pussy ass bitch.
That's a bad link.
What do you mean? But it won't link out, because I've noticed a lot of collapse.
It will link out.
It'll link
what
out.
What happens is when you click that link, you'll get a warning that says,
"Oh, you're leaving Twitter."
You're leaving Twitter to an unsecure link, right? And that's the issue.
It doesn't bring it. It doesn't keep it within Twitter.
Is what's happening here in those screenshots?
Twitter, which is what you usually have.
He's going like, "Yo, you're gonna fix this?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna fix it." And then he's like, "Why did you take my shit down?" He goes, "I didn't take that shit down." And he's like, "Well, I rely on Substack, and it's a main point of driving people to Substack. I get paid from Substack." And that's where they go back and forth. And they're like, "Wait, hold on. You're an employee at Substack?" He goes, "Well, not literally an employee. I get paid by people who follow me and subscribe." And then he also said that he could have worked for Substack or something like that.
Well, no. In the thread, what I took it as is he was one of the original people who was using Substack when Substack originally launched to hype the product. I mean, obviously they wanted ambassadors who would write there and who would subscribe to create
there's
more of a
like
user
Aaron
base.
Rupar's on there too. Like he gets all the links, on Twitter. But at the end of the day, what happens here?
Because you got to make some money somehow.
Elon Musk is threatened. He looks at the
because Elon wants the revenue that's going to these people. He will at least he wants a cut of it because he knows the Substack money will continuously be income.
Over, right? And Elon Musk is someone who's thinking, well, shit, these people are leaving Twitter, and much like any other website, you want to keep someone, you don't want to retain them for as long as you can. So he says, okay, we'll increase the character count. We'll make tweets even longer, right? If you pay me $8 or $11 now,
you pay me $8, I'll let you tweet more.
I'll allow you to edit in the first
I'll allow you to edit. I'll allow you to do. I'll allow you to. I won't. I'll stop putting up a Dogecoin in the middle of the screen because then I'll make money off of it because people will think something's happening.
Go super fucking weak. Then he hears that Substack is releasing their own version of Twitter to say, well, fuck, man, if people want the longer form version here and they're coming from Twitter, then, I'm sure someone on the product team was like, well, why don't we just make a shorter version?
Make Twitter. Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen with Twitter, man? This guy is running this shit into the ground.
He's
and
literally.
Every day.
And it's not because of the user base or because people don't want to use the platform. It's because he has no fucking money. He's running out.
Right.
So
he's broke ass bitch.
Did he sell more of Tesla? I know he dropped the prices.
I haven't looked at the.
He's a broke ass bitch.
You're muted, Texas.
Broke ass punk bitch.
He didn't sell any more Tesla. He's really in a pickle there because he promised his Tesla investors that he wouldn't sell any more Tesla stock, and now he's in a fucking cash crunch at Twitter, or as Titter as he likes to call it. What a fucking child, man. But yeah, no, this is a big problem. I actually had a conversation with Elon Musk's mom.
I need to figure out who owns that
about this
building and see how
thing.
far down.
I am not kidding. I had an exchange with Elon Musk's mom on Twitter. Because she was like, she made a comment when he was first talking about. Remember when they were crushing links to YouTube? They were suppressing any tweet.
This is when she was like, "Oh, you should be super grateful for having access to this," because that was the whole thing about like people getting paid, right?
When was this?
It was a while back, and so I explained to her. I explained to her that. What Twitter was. I said, you don't understand. Twitter is a hub for everybody. If you want to bring your YouTube content, you bring it to Twitter. Everybody's bringing all of these other platforms to you, and that's where you make your advertising money. You and your son don't understand fundamentally what Twitter is. Twitter is not designed to compete with YouTube. Twitter is not designed to compete with Instagram. It's not designed to compete with Substack. But they are the hub everybody uses.
Mm-hmm.
And so Elon Musk, like Gabe is saying, is looking at this data saying, oh, people are leaving my site. Well, yeah, you dumb fucker, because they found the information on your site, which means they'll be right back. They're not leaving forever. That's the way Twitter worked. And he was too stupid because he's not actually, everybody, and including me, I fell for it. Everybody thought he was this fucking genius, this brainiac.
Thank you.
When Twitter was was a company in and of itself before he ever got there. Tesla was doing its own thing before Elon Musk
and Tesla is filled with fucking lawsuits that show he does not know shit either.
Fundamentally understand what
You're saying Elon didn't works. Wait, you're saying Elon didn't invent electricity? I heard that somewhere on Twitter. Then he invented electricity.
The other thing too is a lot of people are like, oh, Elon's trying to make it a central hub or whatever. There's an interview, there's a video out there of Elon Musk talking about this is well before he bought Twitter.
Way before.
And they were talking about like what Twitter could be. He's like, oh, well, WeChat is connected with everything in China, right? It's
that's because
you go in for financial
goddamn government
and
owns
connected.
it.
Like it's part of the
and
government
owns you
and part of all these services. And he was like, well, I would you do what WeChat did, which again, it shows you that the guy literally has no original
clue.
Ideas. He sees something that's successful and then says, well, we don't have that here. We should do that here.
Well,
and then
that's government-run fucking systems that keep track of everything.
I see, and I didn't understand this till.
And you must have it in China.
Is that if you go look up the largest user-based social media platforms, Twitter doesn't even come in the top 10. Never came in the top 10.
Not even in the top 5.
And he
top 20,
paid,
I don't think.
Overpaid like $30 billion for that.
Imagine paying $44 billion and then committing to
something
a joke
was worth about 12
where you
billion.
say, oh, we're going to change the name from Twitter to Titter, then get in trouble because you covered up the W from the landlord. And then you say, oh, well, the landlord said we couldn't cover up the W, so we painted the W white. Like, that's the person, the guy who lives in a world of memes.
Hey, that sounds like it's worth $44 billion. That's
some expensive paint, man.
Not only that, you tank the main company that you're making money with. He's tanking Tesla. He can't even give those motherfuckers away because people are like, fuck that guy. Detroit's going to make way better fucking EVs that look a hell of a lot better and operate a hell of a lot better. Who gives a shit about the autonomy? The autonomy doesn't even fucking work half the time anyways. So who gives a shit? I mean, he really corners himself into this situation where he has to be the genius, and he always proves that he isn't.
Right? Exactly. Thank you for at least seeing that he's not. There is he is nowhere near the genius. He's not even close.
The last delivery report just tanked Tesla. I don't know what their stock's at today, but I'll bet it's around 190 or less. I haven't checked Tesla stock today. I'll check it here in a minute.
This is Eric.
But he tanked Tesla.
This is Eric. Doing well. How about you? I'm not interested in Cupertino. That's too far away. I'm looking to be in San Francisco or Oakland area. Thank you. I'm not interested in being in Cupertino. What the fuck?
Under 200 again because of the deliveries. And the problem wasn't the number of cars he delivered. It's that they were all low-end cars with price cuts, which means there's no meat on the bone because everybody said, okay, look, Lincoln's getting in the EV market. Cadillac's getting in the EV market. Why, Lexus is getting in the EV market.
Why would I buy Tesla?
Why would you buy a Tesla from a guy that has no real idea how to make a luxury vehicle from a guy that has no idea how to make a luxury vehicle? Why wouldn't you wait 1 year and buy a Cadillac or 1 year and buy a Lexus?
Right. And people aren't going to wait for the used EVs on Cadillacs. People who want luxury EVs aren't going to wait. They're going to buy that motherfucker brand new. They're going to order that sumbitch before they hit the lot. I mean,
So it looks like I'm
if you're
getting the
unaware
database now.
about how Elon Musk has been desperate to get into the car market, it only makes sense why Tesla is only going to be a solar and battery operation probably within the next decade. And the if he doesn't, he'll be toast. But the reason why is because the auto manufacturers won't allow him to have dealerships in any states. Now, you can call it monopoly or whatever, and that's not free market. But let me tell you something: the auto manufacturers are going to leverage whatever power they have, and the power they have is to say, "Fuck you! You're not going to get ahead of us. We're going to get ahead of you, dummy. You didn't invent this technology. This isn't your shit.
He is no Preston Tucker.
No,
he is no Preston Tucker.
So I mean, and the other thing too is he really shit the bed on autonomy, because that was one of his big sells for commercial, right? This big commercial truck he's going to build. He really shit the bed on that because Tesla, the autonomy is all garbage. But the other thing he shit the bed on was this fucking truck. Holy fuck. To make a truck not look like a truck was the dumbest fucking thing he's ever done in his life.
Well, that's annoying.
He paid $44 billion for Twitter.
Because now
the truck is the dumbest shit he's ever done in his life.
That apocalypse looking
what the fuck?
Fucking geometric shape truck.
It looks like a Pontiac Aztec and a fucking DeLorean fucked and had a baby.
It honestly does. I mean, that thing could not get 6 inches up on a curb. Remember that. They needed to use like the little platform heels that Ron DeSantis wears. They had to use that to get up on the curb.
Right. There's something wrong when the truck cannot go over a curb.
I got to tell you guys, I used to be.
Ask my mom.
I used to be a heavy equipment mechanic.
See, my mom bought a Honda
rig.
Pilot. So she has had an SUV now since, what is that, 2000. Okay, so she bought that in 4. So I want to say 2011, 2012. So, yeah, 2010, 2011. Yeah. Because the neighbors next door, about maybe 2014. Yeah, because I think that car was almost 10 years old when she got rid of it. No, it was 8 years old. So, 2014, 2013. So SUVs are just like, and she had a curb. Who cares? She was like, okay, curb. She didn't see a curb. She didn't, So if their SUV couldn't take a curb, or their truck, wow, trouble.
Okay.
And maybe it's a good thing my mom doesn't drive one of those. She drives a hybrid Toyota because she doesn't like that they're so low.
You cannot go in to build a rig thinking, oh, let's do this lightweight. They've everything that
the Model Y, by the way,
they could shear weight off of. Volvo's already done it. International's already done it. Dumbass, just how dumb this fucker is. Dumbass goes in and takes weight off the brakes. Okay,
sounds safe to me.
The brakes on a big truck have to be huge, meaty, cast iron drums, because the amount of energy they absorb, it turns to heat, and that heat has to be dissipated. And if you try to do that light, Volvo tried that once. They tried to go with all disc brakes, fucking warped out immediately. Yep. Just nightmares for shippers. You know what I mean? They immediately said, I don't want that truck. I don't want that truck. Same thing with the frickin' Teslas. Everybody was like, an electric truck? Great. It's like a locomotive. You've got a decent enough power source. Electric motors are fantastic. But the fucker has to stop. At 80,000 plus pounds, it has to stop. And this stupid fucker...
It's almost like there's vehicles in front of it or something.
And they didn't test it. They didn't test it. They treated it like fucking software and put this truck out on the market to beta test it.
Right.
Your kids, when you see a Tesla, you're behind you got a 80,000 pound truck behind you that was not tested.
Well, so let's go back to the pickup truck because I think among
Is it a pickup truck though, Tony?
Right.
Is it?
But here's
Thank
the thing.
you. I keep
And
saying the
here's-
same
and
thing.
here's
Is
the
it?
signal that I
If it can't
saw
even hit a curb.
when Tesla was done, when he couldn't get this fucking thing to market, the pickup truck, and fucking Ford F-150 comes out with a pickup truck that looks like a Ford F-150. It runs like an F-150. It feels like an F-150. No one knows that son of a bitch has
It's
an electric
already
motor
sold
in
a
the
few
damn
hundred
thing,
thousand.
besides the person who bought it, or if you see it being charged. Like,
You have
how
to
the fuck didn't
front,
he know?
The front grill is how you can tell a Lightning.
That pickup truck owners aren't going to buy that fucking weird looking thing. They want a pickup truck. Like Ford knew it, Chevy knew it, Toyota knows it. They all know it. They're like, why would we make something that doesn't look like a goddamn pickup truck for people who want to buy pickup trucks? It's the same thing you're saying about Cadillac and Lexus and anyone else who's going to make these luxury EVs. Why would you want anything that isn't being bought on the market now? Like, I've been in a Tesla, and really, honestly, it feels a little weird because all you got is this big fucking LED. It looks like a tablet. That's it. A tablet with a steering wheel is what it fucking seems like.
Basically
to me,
what it is.
And I've been in.
That's
And
basically
it does
what
a
it
lot
is.
of cool tricks, like it does Christmas songs and shit like that. But who
But it's
gives a
basically,
fuck?
yeah,
Who
just
wants
a
their
big
car to
screen.
sing them a Christmas song? Listen,
I would rather
I
have
want
the center
bitch to
screen,
get to
too.
point A to point B. I want it to look a certain way.
Actually, what I'd rather have is a heads up
a set of
in the
fucking
middle.
features, and those features are to be a car or a pickup truck, for crying out loud.
Tony, you mean you don't want the blinker to make fart noises?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That sounds pretty cool. But
sometimes
That
it
is
is
a
fun.
Tesla option. You can make
That is fun.
you can make it fart.
Yeah, you can make a fart.
Like, I can
You
make
a
a fart,
fart.
which is like, oh,
can make
See,
a
and
fart.
I've been talking shit about it the whole time.
You can make a fart.
Well, I mean,
pun
like, you know,
intended.
how long does it take for that joke to like spoil out? For like, okay, we get it, man. You got a fart noise on, you know, like. I mean, I've heard some creative horns,
Yeah,
you know, or
exactly.
like things that you can, you know, for other sounds that you can make your car do that you want to mod out. Yeah, exactly. Right? There's way more sounds where I'm like, I'd much rather hear that stuff than I would a fucking fart noise over and over again. And you have to also remember that the Cybertruck is, I think,
So if I do a
the
fresh
cost is going to be
install-
like $60,000, like $70,000, depending on like which package you get, right? Which will probably be even more, assuming that there's other. Because you have to remember too, like the way in which the Tesla model works, the business model was introduce a bunch of expensive cars to then finance the next side of the production, to then more and more everyday common cars. So you scale it that way. What he's trying to do right now is say, hey, look, I'm going to really jump into the pickup truck market. And I'm going to say, hey, we need to make this truck, which doesn't have the same volume that a pickup truck have. It doesn't have the attachment clips. It doesn't have all the, it has a little cover. What happens when that fucking cover breaks? Okay. You know, there are things that are much cheaper, like a tarp that many people use, right? And they've done for years, who work in construction or farming or whatever it might be. They know exactly what they can rely on because it's, you know, built for tough, right? Or it's like all of these things that they know exactly how it works. To jump to a completely new thing because it's Elon Musk. I mean, the fact that they're going a pure electric car, that sounds pretty woke as fuck, if you ask me. And the fact that they're saying, oh, I want to put money into a truck that has no real commercial viability because it's going to be this like unique thing that sits on the side of the street somewhere where everyone's like, oh, look, there's that asshole who spent $60,000, right? It's different when you're like, oh, there's a bunch of Tesla cars around. It became mainstream. But to make this fucking pickup truck mainstream is going to be one hell of an uphill battle. And I don't even know if that car could go uphill, honestly. I haven't even seen the testing on it. I've seen it go on a flat road. It can't go 6 inches on a curb. I highly doubt it's going to be able to go up an actual hill.
Well, the other thing too is
no, it does. Believe me, I've seen some people that actually have actually been on alongside of it.
Can you see if you can pull that
going actually up the pass, and it's working.
I've actually
it's actually there's people who've actually shown it.
They've been running them.
Yeah,
and
they've shown
I think Twitter's been running them actually, and they're promoting EV vehicles, and it's Elon Musk and someone else. I'm not sure who it is. They're in like recliners, and they have like a charging station hooked to them. And it's to promote Hertz EV vehicles. The craziest part about it is Hertz probably isn't going to buy fucking Teslas to rent. And I don't know.
Well, they
if
already
Elon
did a
Musk
huge purchase, and I just
has
don't
any
think they're going to
idea
do
how big the
more.
rental car market is or not, but
Yeah.
I mean,
These guys
especially
do
because you
realize
also
that
have to
Hertz
remember-
already
Especially when
did
you
a
have Tom Brady
huge.
pimping
Well,
the
also
shit.
the rental car market.
Couple of
I haven't
years
looked
ago.
lately, but you have to remember the rental car market. The used cars, like
Right.
I had a car that was 3 years old, and just a couple of years ago, coming out of the pandemic, everyone's like, oh shit, we need used cars. We need rental cars,
right.
because a lot of those places sold off their stock to keep things afloat and pay the bills. And used
well,
cars,
hell, that's how most used cars get, or like
Right.
certified
This-
used cars get into the market.
right, exactly. But it was after the because of the pandemic that the price skyrocketed for used cars. So I had a lease 3 years, and it was like, all right, what am I going to do? I went into my dealership that I bought it from, or leased it from, and they were like, well, you're in a bit of a unique situation. Your car is now worth more 3 years later than it was worth at the time in which you leased it.
Right? Did they let you buy it at a lower at your
So I could
your contract price?
Yeah. So I could fix it, and now I'm paying off the rest of it at a lower price. But it's one of those things where they're like, oh, this never happens. Like, you don't walk in with a car because once you're off the lot, that's like $10K off the price tag right there. This car, after 3 years of use, they're like, no, it's actually worth more than what you got it for, right?
So this commercial here, again, I'm not a Tom Brady fan. Fuck Tom Brady, and really, we don't get paid by Hertz. But I think this commercial is significant when it comes to the downfall of Tesla. Watch this.
Our new EV rental fleet is the absolute GOAT.
Nice. Speaking of goats, is that Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Yep.
He comes in to recharge, get software updates.
Yeah, okay. Still don't get this.
Same time next week?
You got it.
Cool. Let's go.
So again, knowing the used car market, this only shows that Elon's trying to get used Teslas out there into the market.
Right.
Like that's the sense that I get. But what's going to happen is
Plus, he actually also has an agreement with Uber.
Which cars they want, because
Uber,
Hertz isn't going to fucking
Hertz
buy
actually
fleets and fleets and
is
fleets
how
year
the
after year after
Uber
year of
people
cars that no one
actually
wants to fucking rent.
get their
right?
cars.
And cars that they can't fucking sell. Right. So I understand what they're trying to do here. They're trying to position the Tesla as the car of Tom Brady. Like, I get it. And I get that Elon Musk is trying to make sure that there's a ton of used Teslas on the market, which essentially he's trying to drive up the price of the new vehicle, because
assuming those Teslas don't go off a cliff or into a pool or anything like that.
Well, or catch on fucking fire. You know what I mean?
They're totally safe to drive.
Right. Well,
I don't know. There's a part of me where I'm like, maybe we should trust another company, right? A more established company.
You mean an automobile company?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, if we're really going to be American made here, right? Let's do it.
America
right.
first. You are American first, sons of bitches. Go ahead, Tex Paul.
No, a lot of people don't realize what has been going on in the EV market. You have two major players that really haven't been jumping into the EV market, Honda and Toyota. So Elon Musk has been okay. Tesla's been okay because they just don't have the competition. I'm pulling up a name real quick. Soji, I know his first name, and I want to say Soji Sato was his name. But the new CEO of Toyota came out and said, "Look, we are all in on the EV market. We are all in on the EV market." Volkswagen 2 years ago said EVs are the future. We're going to do it. And if you don't know Volkswagen is massive, folks. It's not just the Volkswagen brand. They own Lamborghini. They own Bentley. They own Audi. They own, shit, man. I mean, if you look at they own like a dozen car companies plus heavy truck manufacturing. And these companies have all said, we're in. And now Toyota realized they got
no choice.
Honda screwed up royally.
Toyota did not
and so
want
we're going
to,
see
and
how
Honda
this plays
didn't
out.
want to. Yeah.
Then they got caught behind the eight ball.
So
They're having
yep.
GM make an
Yep.
EV for them for the next 2 years until they can get into the market in 2005.
So they can retool, because that's what
Correct.
everyone has to understand is the car companies just can't be like, oh, we're going to make EVs now. They have to retool their entire factories. They have to retool their entire line and their entire process to make these vehicles. And that's what they've been waiting on. That's why they've been boxing out Tesla out of the dealership, because a lot of people don't know this, but Tesla doesn't have its own independent dealerships. He can't have dealerships inside states. And these auto manufacturers are the ones who boxed him out of that. And the reason why is because they want to own the market. But the other thing
well, just a quick point on that. Here in LA, we have when I go to the mall, it's a storefront option. Right. Which is
you can actually go to the
there
storefront.
and it's a Tesla store, and they've got 2 cars in their little
but it's not a dealership.
No, it's just you walk in, you see the car, you can't test drive, you can't take it. It's literally trapped inside this mall.
It's like a clothing store.
Exactly. You go in like, oh, I like that thing, and then they say, okay, great, we'll ship it to you whenever. Right.
So the other thing that is really important here is the infrastructure bill, and the reason why is because we won't and haven't had the infrastructure for big car manufacturers to go all in, like Texas Paul is saying.
Right.
I mean, there has to be infrastructure out there that charges these vehicles. They can't market a vehicle. I don't know if people know this or not, but the automobile was invented, right? And then the United States said, you know what?
And was electric at first. Go look and see who the first person to get hit was and killed by a car. It was an electric vehicle.
We're going to build a shitload of roads that you can drive these automobiles on so that car companies can sell them to you. That's how we became an automobile country. That's how we travel. That's how we transport shit ourselves and other stuff. But it was us. It was the people who said, we'll build the roads so that way we, the government, we, the people, will build the roads so that way the car manufacturers can sell the vehicles to drive on the roads. The same way as the reason why it's taken a while to get to this EV revolution as it is in the automobile industry for the consumer is that we, the people, have to provide the market for it to be sold in. I mean, that's important. So,
and also you have to look at what happens when something hits the market. It's like, hey, everybody uses the old VCRs as an example. When they came out, they were over $1,000. When they died, you could get one at Walmart for $12. I mean, it's same thing with electric vehicles. The profit margin is going to be massively huge on these.
They were
because
huge at first.
One, a chip factory is called a fab. They're building fabs all over Arizona like crazy right now.
And
they're building
Texas.
battery manufacturing facilities
And
all over
Texas.
because they've figured out that this
Kentucky.
is the future, man.
And
This is
Tennessee.
the future. So
they're
your
going to
Cadillac Lyric,
have that infrastructure to do it.
And New York.
your
upper
Cadillac
state New York got a
Lyric,
huge.
Yeah, sure. It's $60,000
Washington State's got
today.
battery going. Upper state New York's
5
got
years
battery
from now,
going.
when everybody's all in,
But
that
the
same Cadillac
battery
Lyric
that
is
those
still
two
gonna
states
be
have got are
$50,000,
high-end batteries. The
$60,000.
Mercedes
But you're also
batteries.
talking about
I
adjusting
know because
for
that's one of the
inflation,
companies I
so it's
interviewed
really going to
for.
be like selling it for $50,000 today,
Right.
or $40,000 today. It really is. And Tesla is fucked.
Right.
Totally fucked. They've lost their brand name.
I'll disagree with you there because I think if Tesla, the company, kicks
They're
Elon
still
Musk
selling
and
enough
says
that I
"fuck
don't
you"
think they're
and they
fucked.
go all
I think
in
they'll
on
be fine.
batteries and solar, I think Tesla
But I don't
can
know
make
if they'll
it. Now,
get past
won't
2
be-
million
They
a
won't
year.
be the auto manufacturer that he wants them to be.
I don't think they're going to go
but they're
past
not
2
an
million
auto
a year.
manufacturer. They're just not. They're not there. They are a battery and a solar company. That's what they are. I'm going to move on here because I know we could probably talk about this forever. We were talking about classified documents earlier. It appears that the Gang of Eight, I don't know if you guys, the audience knows what the Gang of Eight is, but the
yes,
Gang
they
of
do.
Eight is going to be briefed apparently. It seems like maybe today or
actually already
tomorrow
have
on all the classified
access
documents that
to
were
it.
found in Mar-a-lago, the documents that were
That
found in President
in the
Biden's
VP
residence, Vice President Biden at the time, but now
both
President
the
Biden,
VPs
and then Vice President Mike Pence. It
homes
seems like the Gang of Eight is
or
actually going to
offices.
receive. So we're definitely going to have shenanigans from Republicans once these briefings are done. My guess is they're even going to divulge probably classified information, or at least edge up to that.
They're going to edge up to it, but I don't know if it's going to be smart for them to do
Texas
this
Paul,
because I
have you
think
read
they're
anything
not
on-
going to be of
I know Chuck Schumer
equality.
made a statement,
And I think that's going to be a
about the
problem
Gang
they're
of
going to
Eight
have.
saying these are getting these briefings. For
And I
this
think they may
classified
want to be
documents.
quiet at this
I
point
think
because
it's only
I
gonna
got
tell
a
the
feeling
story
there
that,
might be
hey, look,
indictments
the
coming
vice
about the
presidents,
documents case.
Biden, who's now the president, and then Pence having these documents. I guess we lost Texas Paul. He must have lost connectivity. But it seems like there's going to be a stark contrast between the Mar-a-Lago documents and what was found in the vice president's home.
You have to remember. So in the
very
gang of eight,
stark
you've got
difference.
people like Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Kevin McCarthy, Hakeem Jeffries, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how people on each party play. I mean, we know how Democrats are going to be like, look, this is pretty bad stuff in terms of Trump, right? You're going to look at Biden and say, well, it doesn't look like these are anything important. Though we don't know, but it's probably safe to assume that they're not as bad as the documents that were discovered at Mar-a-Lago during a legal search and seizure of said classified documents by the FBI, not a raid. But it'll be interesting to see how Kevin McCarthy tries to spin this. I think Mitch McConnell is going to play it safe, and he's going to be like, yeah, this is a problem. We should look into this. Because I think Mitch McConnell is more, we'll say, diplomatic in this sense. And he's definitely strayed away from the recent activity that Kevin McCarthy has done. Now, I could be wrong. He could totally lean into this and say Donald Trump was totally right to take these documents. But I would imagine that probably Mitch McConnell is going to be more on the center on this. Kevin McCarthy, I think, is the real wild card. Marco Rubio, we know, obviously, he's going to fucking cuck to Trump. And I don't know about Mike Turner, but I definitely know that Marco Rubio is one of those people who will probably say some stupid shit because he's got no
and McCarthy are going to have to stay with him. They have no choice.
Is probably still riding high on his giving Tucker Carlson the Jan 6 footage, and thinking that this will make up for the other things that the other things that he gave up during the speakership vote, right?
Right. So what is going to be held against him here? Here's the Gang of Eight for those listening on the audio version. Mike Turner, Republican from Ohio. Jen Himes, Democrat of Connecticut. Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia. Marco Rubio, Republican of Florida. Kevin McCarthy, of course, the Speaker of the House, Republican from California. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader of the House, Democrat of New York. Chuck Schumer, Senator Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York. And then Mitch McConnell, of course, the scummy Republican senator from Kentucky. He's the minority.
Is he back from his slip and fall situation?
I don't know. I think his turtle shell saved him. Breaking, but this is from Brian earlier. He says, breaking, the Gang of Eight, quote unquote, now has access to the classified documents found at Trump, Biden, and Pence homes. Transparency is important. Now, I'm not sure. I'm sure that some of this is going to be redacted, right? They're not going to let the Gang of Eight just have free reign of this. I'm sure.
I would imagine. I don't know what the flow of information or the handoff here is like. Did the DOJ got it, and then they gave it to Jack Smith, right?
Right.
And then is it Jack Smith's team that's handing him up? I feel like that would be the appropriate place.
Well,
right?
I believe it's DOJ in coordination with NARA that's handing this stuff off to the Gang of Eight.
If NARA's touching it, I would imagine they're probably striking through a lot.
Well, these guys, the reason they're on the Gang of Eight, these guys actually have the clearance to actually see it.
Right.
I mean, these are not just your average dipshit. There's a reason Marjorie, Trader Green is not on this list. I mean, there's these guys all have top clearances. So I don't know how much is going to be redacted, but it is important to remember that when Mike Pence and Joe Biden were found to have documents, they both retained their clearances. Trump did not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Trump's clearance was yanked the second he left office.
Well, and I mean, there's a lot of reports on that. I mean, they were even not giving him full briefings, and the one reason why is because the guy couldn't pay attention long enough to take a full briefing unless they put his fucking name in it 100 times. I mean, I think they just literally just in caps locks put Donald Trump, leader of the free world, president of the United States, greatest president of all time, is reading this document. Yeah. I'm telling it. I think that's the fucking truth.
Yeah,
I know. I think that's the fucking truth.
I mean, they got to sandwich his name between important things, and maybe he'll retain that. He's like, oh right, Donald Trump traitor. He's like, earlier. It's just, I would imagine we know the guy doesn't read. He is terrible at retaining information, and has the attention span of fucking I don't know what has a short attention span.
So I guess we'll see what
Well-
comes out of this, like what news Marco Rubio makes. Again, I think you're right, Gabe. I think Mitch McConnell is going to hold this as close to the chest as he possibly can. I don't think he'll actually say anything about this. What do you think, Dexter?
You know exactly what's going to happen out of this. Kevin McCarthy and little Marco are going to run out and they're going to say, oh, the stuff that Joe Biden had was so terrible. It was awful. Joe Biden, worst president ever. I mean, that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, they're gonna say it, and then of course, then there's this whole thing of like, what will be released, what can be released. They're gonna be like, oh, what were in the Mar-a-Lago files or whatever they're gonna call, or the Joe Biden garage files or whatever, right?
The Corvette files.
The Corvette files. They're gonna come up with some name for it, and they're gonna say what's in there, and then of course, I don't know how much Kevin McCarthy and Marco Rubio can legally disclose while there's a current investigation happening. I mean, I'm sure they have to probably play that kind of safe, but they're going to probably paint the picture as this is black and white. And the real problem is Joe Biden, and not the real problem is, or maybe potentially the real problem is Mike Pence and Joe Biden, but it's not Donald Trump. Or they're going to say, oh, it was the same thing. It's the same thing. There's nothing really different about it. You had these documents here. You had those documents there. Nobody got hurt. Right. Okay. Let's go home. And I can imagine, Marco Rubio saying some dumb shit and Kevin McCarthy getting caught in or running away from somebody once something gets revealed to prove that, he was lying about this. Because, I'm sure there's going to be some leak that happens. Somebody whispers something,
I would say that Kevin McCarthy is going to do a full-on self-own. He always does.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
Almost.
Guys, the worst part about this is what this all highlights is how much this system really needs to be revamped. It really does. You're
talking about how shit's classified and how it's marked.
Exactly.
Agreed.
100%. There's a guy, when you order classified material, just a Cliff's Notes of how this happens, you request the information. There's a guy that brings it to you. Your name is on the list. You sign for it. He gives it to you under certain circumstances, and then you're supposed to give it back to the guy, and then he accounts for it. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Yep,
and it is in
100%.
no way, no how working that way right now. So
That's
they
the
really
problem.
need to revamp this system, man. They do. And Republicans, as usual, are not going to be good faith participants in fixing a problem our country has. Mark Warner,
I
the
agree.
Democrats are going to sit there and they're going to just be quiet about it. They're not going to say what anybody had. They're just going to try to look at ways that we need
to fix
we need to move
this.
forward. Republicans, nope, they're gonna take a squat and shit all over it, man.
Thank you.
Just like they always do.
Speaking of Republicans taking a squat and shitting all over the place, Mueller, she wrote, is reporting, I don't know if you heard this yesterday, but Jim, I don't report sex crimes, Jordan, plans on taking a field trip. Why he's going to New York? He's not the fucking representative of New York, but he's going to go to New York for a hearing. I'm sure that's going to go really well for Jim Jordan. Honestly, again, the whole don't take the shovel out of their hands while they're digging their political graves. Hand them a fucking backhoe. I mean, I'm not saying this, but Alvin Bragg, you really should investigate obstruction charges on Jim Jordan.
Yeah.
See what kind of communication, what kind of coordination you have with your criminal defendant, Donald Trump. I'm just
their back and forth is really something. Every time, Jim Jordan's like, hey, well, there's so much crime in New York. And then they're like, actually, based on recent studies and based on, actual police reporting, we see that there is a decrease in crime. There is a decrease in homicide. So I don't know what shit you guys are smoking.
I thought you were going to say what immediately came out when this happened. Everybody went back and looked at crime statistics in Jim Jordan's fucking district.
That's another one.
It's far worse than New York. It is far worse than New York. But you know why they're going there, Tony. They just want to, look at this, all the crime, but they're picking on Donald Trump. It's little fucking Jimmy Jordan and his bullshit. Republicans are sorry. They are sorry.
They're pussy ass bitches. I mean, Allison here with Mueller, she wrote, points it out. April 13th, Trump sits for deposition in New York AG fraud case again. April 13th, Dominion Fox trial begins. Now, Jim Jordan's going to go between that because on April 25th, the E. Jean Carroll case begins. Ask yourself why, Allison says, ask yourself why Jim Jordan is taking a field trip to New York on April 17th for his farcical hearing, quote unquote. It's just more obstruction. It's just more bullshit. It's more spin. It's more fucking lies out of the fucking real America First Nazi Party. I mean, that's all it is, because they're not winning in the realm of policy, in the realm of ideas, because they have none. They suck at this. They're horrible at it. Now I do want to get to, because there's a lot of fucking news. I mean, there's more documents coming out with Jeannie Thomas's.
Yeah, there's also a mass shooting that happened.
Yes,
in DC.
There's another
at a funeral home, which is like, Jesus Christ, man, you can't even, like, you can't go to a club, a school,
I can't do
a synagogue,
one fucking
a church,
show. I can't do one
bank.
fucking show without there being a goddamn mass shooting in this country. But I gotta get to it, and we've only got about 15 minutes left, so I want to go to our headline story that was on our thumbnail today. Yesterday, again, just to reiterate, Representative Justin Jones, one of the Nashville districts there in Tennessee, who was expelled from the House by a bunch of white dudes because he's black and he was loud. That's the reason why he was expelled yesterday. The Council of Nashville actually voted 36-0 to reseat Justin Jones. It was high fanfare, high fashion of democracy. Let me show you the video, if I can find it here, of them voting 36-0, and you can feel the mood of the room when they do that, if I can find the video. And then I'm going to show you the video of him not only walking to the Capitol, but being sworn into the Capitol. This is inside the room there in Nashville. Yesterday, I actually took a nap, and I woke up to this. I'm like, God damn it. I missed it. I missed it live, but it's a good thing it gets archived. You know, the internet's forever. So I was able to watch it after the fact. But here's the vote to reseat Justin Jones.
Mr. Clerk, close the machines. Take the vote. Ayes 36, no zeros, no abstentions. All right, so we can keep moving.
So not only was the vote 36-0, but the mood
that
in
was
the room
easy.
36-0, right? Now the mood.
What a waste of money, right?
Oh yeah.
Well,
what a waste of time and
Republicans are
money.
fucking waste of space, man. Just full stop. They're a waste of space. Look at this, because the mood didn't change outside on the march to the Capitol, because Justin Jones then set foot in the street to take to the Capitol, because the council's there in Nashville, just down the street from the Capitol. And he walked to the Capitol. Watch this and listen to the cheers in the crowd. Listen to the chant.
Oh yes, I've been actually in a march or two that says exactly
it seems like
that.
The Republicans shit the bed on this one, because let me show
Yep.
you.
I've been in ones in San
Here's in front of the
Francisco,
Capitol.
in Oakland,
So he walked to the Capitol
in
steps, and this is what happened.
Seattle.
Texas Paul. They have the
in-
imagery of the man that they just expelled just
Jeez.
days ago.
The only place is
Capitol
DC.
steps, being sworn
I've not
in
been.
with
DC.
a crowd of people. You couldn't get one Republican, even as much as they smell like shit, to attract this many flies, right? And here, Justin
I would love
Jones
to go
is
to
attracting
see
a
the
whole
place
crowd of
where the
protesters
apartment
that
building
are with him
was
in
where we
this
used to
fight for
live.
democracy, marching
'Cause
with
it's
him
been
from the
rebuilt
council
over.
to the Capitol, and then to crowd around to see history being made as he's sworn in. This is history, folks. Watch this.
To be sworn back in. Okay, so this is very, very frustrating, because it gets to here where we're proud
And I
of
love that
actions.
kiss my ass walk that you're about to show.
Right. Well, so the you see Justin Pearson here, because Justin Pearson is also
His
another-
vote's tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. What time is his vote? Do you know? So I ain't taking a fucking nap.
I don't know. Probably we're on the same
In the
time
morning,
as yesterday, which was
10:30, 11 a.m.
4:30.
Oh, no, this is really late in the
Their
afternoon.
time, 3:30. Well, I mean, what time do you take a nap, man?
Whenever I fall asleep. Here's the here's the speech that Justin gave after he was sworn in. Listen to this.
Today we're sending a resounding message that democracy will not be killed in the
It
comfort of
matters.
silence.
It really fucking matters.
Today we
Please
send a
stop
clear
doing
message to
this,
Speaker Cameron
you
Sexton
idiotic
that the
people.
people will not allow his his crimes against democracy to happen
service.
without
What?
challenge. The people of Nashville have spoken today through their council members, and democracy, we stand for the vision of a multiracial democracy. Democracy is is the vision we're offering to this body, this building that has forgotten it. And so we're waiting now for the minutes from the city council meeting, but I want to thank everybody for coming out, the thousands of people from across the state and across this nation who showed up, because this is not about one person. It's not about one position, but it's about a movement of people power to restore the soul and heart of what this building should represent, and that is democracy. And so I want to thank you all for being here today.
Nothing there, and
particularly
nothing
the young
there.
people who are the heartbeat
Yes,
of
I
this
know.
movement. It was students walking out of classes and taking to this
I love
Capitol
this.
that led us into the well that day, calling for common sense gun laws. And the first thing I do when I walk into this building as a
And
representative is
thanks
to
and